Okay, welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. We're talking about Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. I can't believe I'm doing this video, but I believe it's necessary to do this video based on the attention that it's getting. First of all, let's say fair play to Logan Paul. He's got the super fight that Keith Thurman couldn't get, Terence Crawford couldn't get, Errol Spence couldn't get, Gennady Golovkin couldn't get, and a few fair other fighters couldn't get Floyd Mayweather in the ring. But Logan Paul, a YouTuber, has got Floyd Mayweather in the ring. Good evening to those people across Facebook as well. Don't forget to smash the like button and like the page and invite others to like the page as well. Really appreciate it. So when you first look at the fight, you look at the two fighters. You've got Logan Paul, who to the novice or to the person who doesn't really study boxing will see, wow, he's big. He's a cruiserweight. So that's what, 14 stone, you know, versus Floyd, who is probably around, I don't know, 154 pounds. So 10 stone, maybe 10 stone and a half, 11 stone max, I would say. Floyd, maybe 11 stone and a half. You're looking at close to middleweight. That's the size difference, you know, in height and reach. You look at Logan Paul, he's a big dude. 3 professional fights. People have criticized the opposition, and coming from a YouTube background, he's beat 3 guys who I think, look at them, they've looked undersized. And when I see a big guy fighting a lot of undersized guys, the first thing that comes to my mind, first thing I'm thinking is, this guy has a durability issue. He doesn't take a punch so well, so he's fighting smaller guys. But that's the first thing I think. The second thing I think is, well, he's a big guy, so there's more of him to hit. There's more of him to move around. And with him having to move around to try and catch Floyd, he'll gas. So those things I'm thinking. But one thing I do know about Logan Paul, without a shadow of a doubt, he knows how to throw a right hand on the target and knock guys over with that winging right hand. It's a grazing right hand, and it's a right hand that, whilst to the public will think, Floyd will duck that. This is now a cruiserweight, and people say, you know, you think to yourself, well, Floyd beat up in cruiserweights in the gym before. You know, if you look at Floyd's career, he never fought past like middleweight. He never went to middleweight. He never went further than that in his career. And you look at guys like Sugar Ray Leonard, who went from welterweight up to middleweight, super middleweight. You know, Thomas Hearns fought, fought from welterweight right up to cruiserweight. And then turns taller, 6 foot. I think turns at 6'2", 6'3". So his frame could probably fit that. Floyd at 5, he's 5'8", 5'9". You know, different size. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Floyd could do middleweight. I don't know. The point is this: he never fought anybody beyond the light middleweight division. You know, and I've always felt that Floyd's opponents were carefully selected. I'm not knocking Floyd's legacy. I'm not one of those guys who's going to knock Floyd's legacy. But his career has been, you know, when he got to the position of being Money Mayweather and was commanding a certain amount of money, yes, he was picking the sort of opponents and fights he wanted to be in to suit his style. Why wouldn't you do that? Klitschko's did it for ages, picked fighters, picked guys that suited their style and try to, you know, avoid guys that really, they didn't really want to fight, particularly Vladimir with that situation. But anyway, I go off topic. So Floyd, in his career, never fought a cruiserweight. He never fought a middleweight. So all the fights we've seen of Floyd in the ring have been based on guys who've got high skill sets at his weight category or below. Okay, that's been the case. So, or just above, which is the light middleweight division, like I've mentioned. Now he goes in with the cruiserweight. Don't talk about the Conor McGregor fight, because the Conor McGregor fight, again, him and Conor, similar-ish sort of size. Maybe Conor's a bit bigger. And Conor has had a mixed martial art background with a bit of boxing. And Floyd carried him. But that was years ago. And the problem with this, for me, this fight, for me, is that I think they're saying that there's no judges ringside. Some very interesting rules. I was listening to one of the mixed martial artists talk about it, and he was saying it was just more of a almost glorified sparring session you're watching. You might hit the nail on the head with that. Thing is, because it's not an official fight, it's not an official fight, it doesn't go over Floyd's record, so Floyd remains 50-0 regardless. So even if it's a calculation that goes badly wrong for Floyd, he still keeps 50-0. So you would think with Floyd's boxing ability, he should beat Logan Paul with no problems whatsoever. And it should be easy night's work. Unless he gets nailed with that right hand. That right hand is not like they Sugar Shay Mosley hit him with it. And remember, there's a significant height difference. So Floyd cannot fight Logan Paul as he normally would do. And look at his body language. I think Floyd's going to take the fight to Logan Paul. I think he's going to stay close to Logan Paul. I don't think he's going to allow Logan Paul to... I think he's going to stay close. I don't think he's going to stand off and try and box him. I think he's going to bring the fight. I think he's going to walk Logan Paul back, and he's going to force him to fight. He's going to put pressure. I think he'll put his hands up. I think he'll walk straight. I think he'll walk Logan Paul down, make him miss, and try and counter with the right hand. It was very interesting. If you watch the mitt work of the trainer of Logan Paul, and it's a pad man, and he was mimicking Floyd. He's mimicking Floyd's right hand. It was mimicking some of Floyd's movements. Floyd at his best. Floyd, hadn't been at the ring for a while. Floyd that, with Roger Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather then, I wouldn't have had so much doubt about. But Floyd now, coming back now, and you say, oh, but it's Logan Paul. But it's a cruiserweight. They're weight divisions for a reason. And God forbid Logan Paul lands a right hand from hell, or for somehow beats Floyd. Floyd, if he were to bet on himself to lose, do you know how much money he can make in this fight? Do you know how much money Floyd can make from this fight if he were to bet himself to lose? Do you know how much money he can make? I have to say this. You know how much money can be made for this fight if Floyd bet? Think about it. If Floyd bet himself to lose, because it's an exhibition and it doesn't cost Floyd anything. Just think about that for a second. It's an exhibition. It doesn't cost Floyd anything. It isn't on his resume. But it does tarnish his legacy. Just think, Floyd has given a YouTuber. He's given a YouTuber the opportunity to fight him but not given a Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence, but Pacquiao's fighting Spence. It makes you think things, doesn't it? It does make you wonder. Never fought a cruiserweight in his career, never moved past light middleweight in his career, suddenly he's going to fight a cruiserweight. I don't know. And the rules look weird, like I've said. But you could have a situation again where Floyd knocks out Logan Paul violently, and then you've got Jake Paul running around ringside. Floyd, I'm going to kill you, Floyd. You could have that scenario as well. So I'm not in the ideal world, or in the world of straight up, these two guys, a 3-fight novice should not, who hasn't even had a proper amateur career, has no business being in the ring, other than to shake Floyd's hand. He has no business being in the ring with Floyd Mayweather. That's it. There's no business being in the ring with him. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So for this fight, anything is possible. Literally anything is possible, because there's this on the table, and there is no doesn't mean anything. It's a glorified sparring session, and that's it. And Floyd's running to the bank with it anyway. So I just wanted to talk about that for a minute. If I were a betting man, I would sneak a sneaky tenner on Floyd to lose the fight. Because what are the odds of Floyd to lose the fight? You put £10 on it. Imagine if somehow Floyd was to lose his fight by knockout. Like, for example, he came out, missed a shot, got caught tagged with a right hand, and fell on the floor. Could you imagine that for a second? The sensation that would cause Logan Paul knocking out Floyd Mayweather. And Logan Paul has got a right hand. So I'm not going to be these people that say, trash Logan Paul, say he's garbage. I'm not going to say that. The guy's got a right hand, and a good right hand to that. So, and out of the two, I think he's the better boxer, but that's neither here nor there. Big up Ingram. Floyd to win by KO. It's a circus, but it's free. Please show his comments, please. It's free money. Please show the comment. Ready for Floyd, and I do the same. Okay, well, I guess we all do the same. It's free money, but that cruiserweight power is not something to be messed about with. If one, and the thing is, Logan Paul's unorthodox. He's not your traditional stand-up jab, right hand, left hook. This guy he's just winging punches from all over the place. He's winging punches from all over the place, all odd angles, the way he throws his shots. I don't know. I wouldn't like to see Floyd shoulder rolling against a guy that much taller. You see, the fight against Paul Williams and Floyd Mayweather, I always want to see that fight. How Floyd did with somebody who's significantly taller, longer, that could box. He'll beat Logan, then Bill fight for Jake. Yeah, quite possibly. Gets the keep and take money off Burrows, especially he KOs Logan. Yep. It's build up for Floyd Jake fight has already begun with gotcha hat. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe that wasn't part of the script. That's why Floyd is so mad. Seeing it as an exhibition and does not go towards the permanent record, Floyd Mayweather may take more risk and be aggressive as he is in sparring. That's what I'm saying. Looking at Floyd Mayweather's behavior and mannerisms, he was edging up. He was edging up on Jake Paul. When I see a man that's usually he's edging up on Jake Paul, it means I'm going to back you up. I'm coming to back you up on this one. I'm the smaller one, but I'm going to back you up. There's an expression we have in boxing: back him up, beat him up, beat him up, back him up, and that's what I think Floyd's going to try and do. It says here. Ingram, just still guzzling that river of youth. Would you charge to know your secret, or charge to know your secrets, man? You're a comedian. My book's coming out soon. I'll tell you all about it. I'm joking. Next up, show. Come on. Oh, StreamYard's being so dumb. Can I get this comment to come up? Are you going to show this comment or not? There. Logan's a big dude. If not for Jack Reese's long rest, KSI would have been KO'd on the real. Yeah, same tune. He can punch. The guy can punch. The guy can punch. Just want to also give a shout out Cameron Gillen, who just broke news that there is a fight that's being talked about between a unification bout at light heavyweight between Beterbiev and Joe Smith. Top Rank want to make this fight for September. So that's what I've heard through the grapevine via Cameron Gillen. Shout out to Cameron for doing his work there. And I hope his interview with Nonita Denny went well as well. Floyd is learning off Logan and Jake on how to get young people's attention. I think Floyd is playing fans as usual. You know what? You can go to well one too many times. The box unforgiving. You can go to well one too many times. One final thing I do want to talk about very quickly. I want to say massive shout out to Deontay Wilder. And I'm going to do a long video on that one. Shout out to Deontay Wilder, giving props to new media. And just listening to his interview made me realize or remember why I started this whole journey in the first place. You know, why I started it in the first place. The Floyd Mayweather we saw in sparring and under Roger Mayweather is not the same as the one we get in the ring. And this should be remembered. And this is what I'm telling people. Joe Smith to get brutalized? I don't think so. I don't think it gets brutalized. I think it's a good fight. I think Beterbiev has shown that if you back him up and you put him against, back him up, he doesn't like him. So I think it's a great fight. I like Joe Smith. I've always rated Joe Smith. He's got what it takes to become undisputed as far as I'm concerned. I really do think he's got what it takes. You know, I think he's got what it takes to do. Deontay Wilder is definitely ready for this next fight. To delay and switching gears to another fight from AJ might be his undoing. I mean, undoing of Tyson Fury. Well, I'm going to talk about that Deontay Wilder thing. Like I said before, he brought me back as to why I started this journey off in the first place, of setting up a YouTube channel, of having now being on Amazon TV, on Fire Stick, of having our channel or our network on mobile, having a mobile app. That's the reason why I did the things I did. Not because of Deontay Wilder, but some of the things he said. And I will say this much. If you didn't pick up the code, and he was dropping a lot of code in what he was saying during the interview, he couldn't say what he would like to have said out loud. He couldn't speak it out, but he was speaking a lot of code in that interview. A lot of code. That's how I was able to confirm that he was going to fight Tyson Fury. When he went gazar, gazar, an eye for an eye. That's what I said. This guy's talking in code. He's talking in code. Malik Scott was talking in code, and only those that were in the know knew what Deontay was talking about. For most people, they wouldn't have got what he was talking about, and it's for a reason and a purpose. It talked about Muhammad Ali and how Wilder was being compared to Muhammad Ali, and people laughed at it. They didn't get the code even in that. It wasn't so much about how he boxes like Muhammad Ali. It's not about that. Not about that. So it's not about that whatsoever. I think Errol Spence will most likely beat up Pac-Man, signaling the passing the torch, and the Crawford fight will have to happen. Nothing else makes sense. Understood that Crawford is pushing for Crawford's it said that's it. He's leaving Top Rank. Crawford is leaving Top Rank. We heard it before, but he's definitely leaving Top Rank. Malik Scott, although not having an illustrious boxing player, might turn out to be a better trainer. He's been there since the beginning. And I keep saying about Malik Scott, the one thing Scott has got on his resume, apart from being a good boxer, a decent boxer, is knowing the fight game inside out and being in the various training camps. And what people have really missed out on, and you should know, if you've been a BWTM supporter for more than 5 years, Malik Scott was regular on this channel. You look at a lot of the Malik Scott, Harold the Shadow Knight, Xavier Miller, all these guys that we're talking about. A lot of these guys are Rick Ramos, James Ali Bashir, Andre Rozier, Stacey McKinley. So all most of the shakers and movers in boxing today, the trainers, at some point they've passed through BWTM. And you look at someone like Malik Scott, he was in the Klitschko camp. So he's had experience being in Klitschko's camp. He's had experience being in the UK, being abroad, sparring around the world. Malik Scott has got a hell of a lot of experience. As for English, he stops both Chris Mannix and Bernstein within 7 rounds. The guy's too much. What do you make of Eddie saying DAZN will have pay-per-view, but will still have pay-per-view, but only biggest fights? Listen, forget Eddie. Forget Eddie, man. Forget Eddie. I don't know how you can still bring that man's name up on the show. Forget Eddie, man. I don't want to hear nothing about Eddie. I'm not interested. Yeah, I don't want to hear nothing. I'm not interested in Eddie and what Eddie says and what Eddie. I don't care. I don't care. I don't know nothing about that guy. I'm not interested whatsoever. Not interested. What I'm more interested in is who's going to take over the Sky dates. Now that Matchroom are on their way out, who's going to take over the Sky dates? And it will be interesting to see how things go from now on in terms of how British boxing moves on. You know, Anthony Joshua is not part of the DAZN deal. I heard, don't know how true that is. How does it move on? The next phase of British boxing. Because everyone was praising Eddie. Oh, Eddie's great. He's wonderful. He's fantastic. Well, let's see what happens next. Will it be MTK Global that get that Sky deal? Be interesting. So you can't go to Frank because Frank's got BT Sports. So who would take that? Who would do that? Who's got a big enough stable to do that? It's in MTK Global would be the natural place to go to. Oh, come on. I'll just read it. The only way Floyd loses the fight is if it's rigged and he gets bet on himself, or to lose it's humiliation ritual. Possible. What's going to happen with Femi when he finishes Sky contract next fight? He's not part of. I just mentioned that. Moving on. If I'm able to get unification on DAZN with my package, it goes up by £20. I'm fine with that. Okay. Eddie could lose his cash cows. What cash cows? I'm not interested in Eddie. I'm not interested in whatsoever. Yeah. So that's it, really. I think good to see Nonito Donaire doing the business. Really happy to see him back winning. Really happy. He was written off. Shout out to Nonito Donaire as well. Unification bout for the Charlo. Shout out about that as well. Good to see them fighting. In fighting at unification bout. Yeah. The conversation was had that this UFC fighter, UFC MMA fighter, I can't remember the guy's gentleman's name again, but he was talking about sparring sessions. He said like 8 years ago, he said, you got all the different legends that you hear about. coming together, sparring one another, so you get your fantasy matchups. Instead of having a video camera for all those matchups and all those sparring sessions, this guy fighting that guy fighting that guy, sparring one another and filming it, it would be amazing. Now, there is something I do want to talk about, is what is the gold kite for boxing, or the blue tick mark for boxing? What is the standard? Should there be a standard for pay-per-view? Should there be a standard for fights on TV? Should there be a general standard for if a person gets injured, that if a guy's socket goes, automatically the fight is stopped and the fighter doesn't have any say in the matter? Because the way boxing is going, and I will say it now, the boxing community on a whole is trash. The boxing community on a whole is absolute trash. You've got more and more people who know less and less about boxing talking about it and on the airways. DAZN, for example, is pure garbage. Sergio Mora, the Latin snake from the Contender Series and former world champion, spends time after time correcting people like Chris Mannix. The boxing community has become more and more trashy, and it's got less and less time to appreciate legends. That's why the legends are coming back, because the current crop generally are just not that good. People are picking up belts and winning titles, but not like there was a standard. When a guy became a world champion, you knew he was off the real deal stuff. When Evander Holyfield became champion of the world, you knew he had to be a real guy to become a world champion. You understand? And I just feel that a lot of that is missing in boxing. Devin Haney fought the other night, and I said that I wasn't a big fan of Devin Haney. I think he's an okay fighter. I think he's trying to be Floyd II. There is no Floyd II. Just be yourself. We've seen that happen before, and that was with Adrian Broner. Don't get me wrong. He's a young fighter. He is got a skill set. He's got a nice jab. Puts his punches together very well. Very nice. But I was watching that fight. I was waiting. I'm saying to myself, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And then, boom, it happened. Linares made the legs go. And I'm like, okay. Yes, it was a shutout against Linares. It was a very good performance against Linares based on he did the job. He did the business. But I wasn't impressed by it. The most impressive thing about that fight was how Haney, when he went back to the corner, he was disorientated going back to the corner, how he came back and was able to stay composed and win the fight. That was the most impressive thing about that fight. Not the combination punching, not trying to box like Floyd, but tenacity, the ability to come back from being hurt. I learned more about Devin Haney in that point there, and I kind of felt that Linares held back. I felt like Linares was like, he almost had that Danny Jacobs look at him, like glad to be here. Like he was there. Haney was there to be taken out. So I'm not, and this thing about, the tank, like even the current undisputed champion, what's his name, Teofimo Lopez. I'm not that high on him. I mean, just think this a second. Go and look at the fight. He was significantly the bigger guy against Lomachenko. But Lomachenko had him panicking in the later rounds. In the championship rounds, he had Lopez panicking. Lomachenko started putting the heat on Lopez. And then the fight came to an end. Because Lomachenko didn't want to get caught with anything nasty early. So later on, he got on Lopez, and Lopez seemed to panic. Now, what happens if that was a bigger, stronger guy that was a natural at the weight, or big at the weight himself, and could punch himself. I'm not that high on Teofimo Lopez. I'm not. I think he's a good fighter. But is he relatively untested is the word. Like, he's another one. Tank's cool, and he's got knockout power, yes, but superstar, really? Because he's connected to Floyd and Ryan Garcia. Got dropped by Luke Campbell. Got up from that. Good to see. But Luke Campbell, once again, signing autographs. That was he doing. So those guys, they would be back in the 80s. Do you know what they kind of remind me of? In terms of career, do you remember a guy called David Reed? He had kind of like a loopy eye, like his eyes a bit looping it. I'm not saying they box like David Reed, but David Reed was pretty green, and he became world champ because he was Olympian. He became world champion. Go look at David Reed. And I'm talking about the way that these guys' careers are. And they seem to be fast track but green. And then they come against a real seasoned pro he's been about the business, which was in Felix Trinidad. And he took an awful, horrific beating from Trinidad. And I just feel these guys are, yes, some of you got respected champions. But some of these guys, I feel that they're just, force right's not the word. They're not, because of the various networks, everyone's pushing their guy to be that guy. We've got that guy. I just feel that they're not the finished article, I would say. They're not nowhere near the finished article. But yet we're talking like them like superstars. And they're not. They're not. And these are the future. But we're talking about like they've already arrived. And I think that's just not fair. Guys you want to call superstars in boxing, Pacquiao, Nonito Donaire, guys who've been there, lost, come back. You know, real. You know what you're getting with these guys. I don't know, but that's just my feeling on it. I feel we're too quick to give people names like superstars and the next coming of Floyd Mayweather. Stop it. He's Devin Haney. That's what he is. He didn't look good against Gamboa. He looked shaky against Lyons when he got caught. And he hasn't even fought a young buck that really wants to rip his head off from his shoulders. So and of course, you've got to have learning fights. I'm not saying that, but I'm just going to reserve my thoughts on those four guys. Not so much Tank, so much. I mean, he went and fought Leo Santa Cruz. But I don't know. Yeah, he's not there. Yeah, I agree. Tio is undisputed, but I still think he's not a star. Yeah. To me, Teofimo Lopez could lose that belt at any time with him. I don't feel safe with him having that undisputed belt. Because I just feel as if you spend a lot of time promoting. And that time you spend promoting, you could be spending becoming a better fighter. I think that takes something off the fighter. So going back, should there be a blue kite? Should there be a gold standard for if a fighter is injured, the fight is stopped automatically. The fighter and the corner have nothing to say about eye socket coming out, whatever. That stops straight away. So that the media and those people who want blood, who want guys to go blind in one eye, and will not pay for their hospital bills afterwards, that there's a gold standard that says, look, every commission around the world will say, if the eye goes, the fight is stopped. That is it. It's not up for debate. Should the fight have gone out for the next round? No. the reason why there's that debate at the moment, because there's no line, there's nothing being drawn there. So I think there should be some line drawn that says, you know what, you get in this ring and your eye is in the state that Billy Joe Saunders was in or Daniel Dubois is in, the fight is stopped. The doctor looks at it, the fight is stopped. That's it. As soon as your eye gets to that position, stopped. You know, or you know, a fighter goes like that situation with Nathan Cleverly when he fought Kovalev. The referee helped Nathan Cleverly back to the corner. It was in no fit state to continue. Got badly beat up there. I mean, Kovalev could have killed the guy that night. What the hell is referee helping fighter back to the corner for? That's not even right. So I think it should be a gold standard. I think there also should be a gold standard with judges, which means that if a judge has had a fight or two fights where there have been dubious decisions, I think that the judge should be suspended. The judge should be suspended. If the referee's had a bad night or bad fight, the referee should be suspended, because if a fighter gets knocked out, it's 90 days or 60 days before they can fight again. So I think judges, referees should get suspended as well. That may stop all that nonsense that's going on with all the, you know, if that happens a few times, judges may, you know, and then money deducted as well, so they don't get paid. It's a shame. It has to be governed corners. Should be first. It has to be governed corners. Should be first to pull man having their best interest in mind. Yeah, but you've got trainers that egos are running. You've got trainers out there who have no business being in the corner of boxing, right? And their egos get out of control. What I mean by their egos get out of control is that it's about them. It's not about the fighter. It's about them. I'm the trainer. And I said that my fighter is going to knock this fighter out. I said it. So that's in the front of their mind. I'm on television. And my fighter, I said this about my fighter. That's first. The fighter comes second. So you see some of these trainers who letting guys go out for another round and another round and another round. Thinking, why are you letting the guy go out? He's getting battered. You're still letting the guy go out. And then you run behind it. Oh yeah, our fighter. I thought, you could do a couple more rounds, or the fighter said he was good to continue. No. Your man was getting battered. He was not winning the fight. You need to pull him out. So that would stop a lot of this nonsense talk with guys saying, should Billy Joe Saunders, should Dubois have done another round, and the quitting stuff. That stops. It stops. That's what I'd like to see in boxing. It'd be nice to see. And yeah. And the situation with Deontay Wilder, the arbitration, that should never happen again. It shouldn't happen again in boxing. It should not happen again. But it just shows you how controlled mainstream media are. They didn't report much on the arbitration. Look, all the mainstream media, they mentioned nothing about the arbitration. Very little about the arbitration. But then, when it came down to it, they had to mention the arbitration because of the ruling. And Frank Warren made a very good point about it. He said that all this time people were talking about the arbitration. They were talking about or they were talking about Joshua versus Fury. And the judge has gone, really? We'll see about that. And I kept saying to people on this show, I said, whether Fury drops the belt or not, they're going to sue millions upon millions upon millions. And I said that Wilder had Fury by the balls. That's why Fury couldn't fight anywhere. And I mentioned this way, way, way back, and people didn't believe me. It is what it is now, isn't it? It is what it is now. Floyd should win, but his age is my concern. He hasn't fought for years. Thank you so very much. That's my concern. And that's why I'm saying, hey, put a sneaky tenor on Logan Paul. Put a sneaky tenor on Logan Paul, because it ain't a bad bet. Because a lot of people would expect Floyd to beat the crap out of Logan Paul. But they're thinking about Floyd Mayweather back when he was fighting in his weight category. You know, this is a guy that's significantly bigger, significantly stronger. And one other thing, before I close, for this fight, has there been blood and urine samples tested? Are both fighters clean? Will PEDs be a part of this fight? It's an exhibition. Why is Floyd Mayweather looking so rough? It's a question. I'm just asking. In none of Floyd's fights have I seen look that rough. And he looks really rough for this fight. Really rough. Hair all over him, hair all over. Growing his hair out. Why? Dubois' corner was very poor that night. Dubois was gassed and his eye was mashed up for rounds. Still believing in Punchy Charles, and Joyce was eating his shots all night. Well, yeah, that's it. That's it. That was a fight I never thought Dubois was going to win. He was too young. And again, I'll say it before and I'll say it again. I don't think Shane McGuigan's the guy for Daniel Dubois. But we'll see. I just don't think he is. Good luck tomorrow night, Mr. Dubois, against Dino. Dino? Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave your comments as always. I hear people saying that Haney win. It was all Davison being on board. Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't forget when Floyd fought Killer Alvarez, he blew up to cruiserweight levels. So Logan is not the biggest guy's fought. Yeah, well, let me bring that back to you. Canelo Alvarez is 5'9". Logan Paul's 6'3". Dimensions are so different. Dimensions are so different. Getting hit by Logan Paul and getting hit by but remember, this I think Logan Paul is a cruiserweight who can easily make heavyweight. I don't think Canelo can easily make heavyweight. That's the thing. Before I disappear, I have a little message to people who like to look at the subscriber numbers, constantly look at the subscriber numbers, and constantly look at what I'm doing. Listen, if you don't like this channel, don't watch it. I mean, what does it say about you who comments on my channel and says, oh, your channel's not making numbers, not doing this? What's your channel doing? You have no subscribers. You have done no work. You've done nothing. That you want to talk to me, who's got over almost 6 million views, who doesn't go out and do any interviews anymore like that, just doing his own thing, and independent. Why do I care about what you have to say? So I just wanted to put it out there to you who likes to criticize. I didn't care about your opinion then. I don't care about your opinion now, and I'll never care about your opinion in the future. Your opinion didn't matter then. It doesn't matter now, and it won't matter in the future. It don't matter. You're not relevant. But I want to give you the message. So I'm telling you down the camera. It wasn't relevant then. You're not relevant now, and you'll never be relevant in the future. So you can put all the comments and you can make all the negativity, all you want. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm still standing. So thank you all so much for watching. Enjoy the show. Enjoy tomorrow night. And let's hope that Floyd is not the one falling face first on the canvas. Because if he is, yeah, a lot of people will be scratching their heads asking the question. Yeah, Logan Paul. Logan Paul beats Floyd Mayweather. But I don't care, exhibition or not. If he knocks Floyd Mayweather out, he's the Logan. Check this out. Logan Paul's the guy that knocked out Floyd Mayweather, and Mayweather beat Pacquiao, and Mayweather beat Canelo, and it just. Let's just leave it right there. Let's just hope for the boxing world it doesn't happen. Have a good night and take care.